home.
My family tells me all the time my voice is too plain and normal to do something like that.
I don't think there is such
Not
a
for playing
thing.
normal characters.
You know, because if that's what somebody's looking for, you're the one for the job.
That's right.
That's another thing. There is no too short or too whatever, because you've got just look at television and radio and films and things. You've got short, tall, thin, fat. Pick a characteristic, and it's there. Somebody wants it. It's just, do you have it when that person wants it? So.
And if your last name happens to be LaFontaine, you're there an awful lot. That's the guy that does like every movie trailer in the universe, Don LaFontaine.
He's on the movie rental commercials now, where the guy says, "Tell us about this movie," and he goes,
"Oh, and
Don."
he pops up out of the cabinet.
Don comes out.
Yeah, he's actually the guy that Hank Azaria makes fun of, right?
Yeah.
Bird on a wire.
Starts Friday.
He drives everywhere in a limo.
In a world
where winged blood-sucking monkeys, in a world where children are out of control. I'm sorry, is he who?
Is he Zachary, the horror host?
No, you're thinking of Ernie Anderson, who was Ghoulardi. Ernie, who used to do the Love Boat. It's an all-new Love Boat, ABC Tuesday. Oh yeah, that was Ernie.
I learned something today.
Cool.
You see, it's all about learning and sharing our knowledge. I think it's making us all better people, don't you?
Yeah, I had a question for you guys. There's sort of an axiom that voice acting is harder than any other kind of acting. Do you guys agree with that or disagree? Or
I do agree.
yeah,
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Clay.
I've said it's the job you can show up naked and still draw a paycheck.
Right.
I haven't tried that yet, though. Yeah, it's. I'll second that notion.
Only because, like with commercials, and I do a lot of commercial work, and I'm sure you guys do as well. It's one of those things where you walk in, and with the commercial, all you have to worry about is moving the fan belts. You know, you have to be convincing to a point, but if they're looking for the macho or whatever they're using to sell, then it's a device. Versus a show like Space Ghost or any of the other shows where you go in and it's like, okay, say the line happy, say it sad, say it like you've been hit with a brick, say it like you're nauseous, say it like your foot is stuck in a car door, say it with an English accent, say it with a mouthful of food. I did a thing a couple of weeks ago, was it Stephen Wright where I had to cram all the food in my mouth?
Yeah, I come into the session and there's this big pile of like semi-chewed food.
Well, it wasn't my fault. It's just the problem is they get you laughing. It's like Matt Harrigan, who's our head writer, will say something like, "That's a good look for you." You know, when you're out like Marlon Brando with a mouthful of goldfish. I was spitting orange number 30 out of my food for like the next month, you know, after the goldfish thing. I had like a whole thing of goldfish in my mouth, and it's like, okay, now read the line. And it's like, and you start laughing, and you have aerosolized goldfish dust all over the room.
And of course, I come in right after that.
Well, were you there for the sandwich thing too? They made me do it with Egg McMuffins one day.
I think that's what stunk so bad.
Which, I mean, until you've crammed like 6 sausage muffins in your mouth. No, it was Burger King. It was croissant time.
That's what it was.
Which I gotta tell you something, if you're ever locked in a car with somebody who's been eating croissantwiches, man, that's a memory you won't soon forget right there. That'll be etched in your mind in granite for a while.
Well, so will having to work next to a giant pile of...
Well, it's like, you know, in Hollywood, they give you the spit bucket. This is when you're like a big deal like Don LaFontaine, you get your popcorn bowl with your name on it. Here's your popcorn, Mr. LaFontaine. Here it's like they leave this bag of teeming, bug-laden, chewed food next to the next 50 announcers. It's like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not a union studio chief.
It was actually on a music stand. It was flattened out.
It was.
Maybe they thought you were part Eskimo.
It was not pretty. It was not pretty.
Next question.
I've shared more than I should with you.
Thank you for sharing, George.
In front of you.
On the voice actors, one time to call, what's better, subbed or dubbed?
Yes.
The real answer is yes. It's whatever you like.
I like sandwiches, so I'm going with subbed.
You get more of the, well, let's see. Actually, no, dubbed, of course.
Naturally.
Okay.
But nothing can
Dubbed. I
nothing
agree.
can ruin a film like a bad dub job.
Oh, man.
We'll throw that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dubs don't suck. Bad dubs suck. There's a difference. Learn it. You know, that's, you know. I mean, you have to go through a lot of chafe to get to the wheat, but, you know, half of my stuff is half and half. I don't buy bad dubs, and you shouldn't either.
No one should.
Which do you
You
like?
should buy the good ones. Yeah.
I prefer subs and he prefers dubs.
It's a very long-running feud. But we're so glad that
Well, yeah.
I hope you boys
This is
can
the
work
first we've
things out.
ever heard of this controversy, believe me.
Cage match. Let's get him up here.
we did that last year.
Let's get it on.
Right in front here.
What sorts of classes or courses are good? I've never taken any acting classes or script reading sort of classes. Is there anything in particular that would be good if I wanted to do voiceover?
Well, my training started in college, but that was basic theatrical training. And then I got into radio, which taught me mic technique, just on-the-job training. But you may find in your area, you can find work wherever you are. You just have to know how to look for it. And there's probably some schmuck who's going to be teaching classes. The thing is, you just have to do your homework a little bit and talk to the people who are in the classes, find out what they're getting out of them. You know, are they worth it? And then just it's hit or miss. But training is always good. You know, you'll never be faulted for learning too much.
Well, I never had any formal training myself, except for just being real anal retentive about my outgoing message on my answering machine. So I do 1,000 takes of that. And I actually did do a Zorak message when I was about 19, so odd foreshadowing.
Yeah. Well, I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts for 2 years, which is primarily...
We can't compete with that. We better
Flipping
leave.
my hair.
Subs rule, I'm sorry.
Wait, come back.
got real actors in here. I can't compete with that.
We've got all the Star Blazers on tape.
We learn from doing. Then we Clay.
You were saying.
College.
Oh, that space ghost.
Amy, cheer up. We found her brake trigger.
She's had real training, man. You know, it's like Clay and I are like, what you gonna watch today? Oh, the giblets is on. Oh, them giblets is funny. Giblets are good, ain't they? Oh, yeah. They got that little one. They had a bigger giblet, had a baby. They got a little giblet. Yeah, that one's always pregnant. He's funny.
If anyone has a paper bag for Amy.
Shade of chartreuse there.
While Amy's recovering, what's the next?
And young love is blossoming at the door.
Yeah.
You just wanted to smile for us. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. Please let us return the favor.
Our casting person will be in touch. You gotta project from the diaphragm.
Several signs about unions. Do you get any, non-union students get any trouble about union people?
Not so far.
We have ways of making you talk.
Boy, when they find out, they're going to be honked off at us.
And those are your real names, right?
No,
guys?
Georgia is what they call a right-to-work state.
As are both the
So
Carolinas.
you don't have to join. And the really cool thing is, the more stuff you do that is done through a contract, they have to make you a member anyway. So I'm actually qualified for Screen Actors Guild health insurance, even though I haven't joined.
Yeah.
So it's a weird situation in Georgia. Now, if I go to LA, they're going to be waiting at the county line for me to come driving in. It'll be like, we got him now, boys!
And
Get him!
And both Carolinas are the same way, so that even if you're doing on-camera work, you can develop union-eligible credits without having to fork over the money for the union. Mind you, the SAG office in Wilmington, North Carolina is pretty pissed off about this, because they really want your money, and it's really expensive. I mean, SAG really does look out for you, so I'm told. But, I mean, you can't keep up with how many times your commercials air. You know, they can.
That's why they call it SAG.
That's right.
Well, that and Gravity.
Yeah.
They went with that first, but then they decided to call it SAG.
So it depends on your area again. I lucked out by being, you'll find most animes done in a right-to-work states. True. Where they can skirt by that and hire non-union actors and afford it.
You got a problem with the union? You got a problem with the union?
Yeah, there you go.
Anime Teamsters, by the way, they're the ones who just stand around the recording studio. They make bad dubs. They're like, nah, we don't care.
Careful,
Yeah.
you'll give Stallone another idea. He'll do Fist 2 with a bunch of announcers. Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm going to get Yuns better pay for your tags and your dubs. Yuns ain't making enough for your voiceovers.
You want new scale.
Is there an explanation for why so many of the voice actors in anime sound like they should be in bad westerns?
Can you be more specific? What quality of their voices?
Yeah, a lot of them do sound like they're in the first place they're from Texas. I know you said it was big studios in Texas, but you know, you've got this guy. No, but you got this guy who's, you know, Oriental guy, and he's saying something along the lines of, "Well, little lady," you know, that's something I.
Well, there is a nasty thing called bad directing, which is what killed Bubblegum Crisis. I know the talent behind it. They're all very talented people, but directing and the method that they used to record killed it.
We're having a meeting down here. We
I'll
apologize.
have the chicken salad.
Joe's asking us what we think about Coca-Cola and Pfizer. I'd get in on the Coca-Cola and I'd dump Pfizer. I'm sorry.
$5 that I have right into it.
Attaboy.
The standard no accent dialect is considered Midwestern, so maybe they're trying for that and not quite hitting it. So
The Tom Brokaw kind of middle America with no particular defining sound, just basic American. Coming up, yeah, as opposed to Peter Jennings with a boot. Coming up in about 5 minutes, the ABC News continued. Or Dan Rather with his monotonous staccato, which just seems to drone on forever. I'm going off on different voice styles. The kids want to know about them. Or Robert Stack. In a moment, we'll meet a man who claims to have telekinetic powers. Make bank and grocery store doors open by merely standing in front of them. Oh, that's him. Although my Shatner is something of a novice approach. I actually do a better Nimoy.
Yes. It's my first anime convention, and
The only one I can do is George Takei.
we're
Captain.
He's got the weirdest laugh. I was at a Star Trek convention in, as a fan, even though Trek sucks and Babylon 5 rules. Star Trek has become the McDonald's of science fiction. When you want McDonald's, it's great. But when you want, filet mignon, you go to Babylon 5.
Celine Dion.
Shatner was at this tiny con in Charleston, and he tells a story of Kevin Pollak and him having a conversation, and Kevin tells it from his side too. And Shatner goes, he looks at Kevin and goes, "Do you do me?" And Kevin Pollak goes, "No, not at all. I definitely don't do you at all. No, I don't do an impression of you at all." And in the middle of this story, he's making fun of the fact that people make fun of his voice. And he says that he doesn't do these things. And then he goes, and I'm starting to laugh. And then the whole crowd finally gets it, and then he realizes, oh, yeah, sorry. He was the Canadian Olivier, if you didn't know that. I'm serious. They used to call him that. It was around White Comanche that time, when he made White Comanche.
Canadian Olivier?
Yeah.
I'm working on that one. Good day, Horatio. So like I knew Yurick, eh? Beauty.
Neither a borrower nor a lender be, eh?
Better if our discontent or something, eh?
That totally throws off iambic pentameter, doesn't it? It's that 11th foot. That's my classical education. Sorry, guys. Joke for one. Next question, over here.
Do you, I don't know how much you guys have mentors in voice acting and voiceovers, but do you have any? Have you really focused on any in the past and emulated on them?
I grew up a big fan of Gary Owens. Have I ever met the, well, yeah, there you go. That's how I feel.
Sock it to me, time.
Unfortunately, I have never really had a mentor who has said, well, now I'm getting old and I'll take you under my wing and now you'll be the funny one. You know, it's sadly, it's not like it used to be. You know, you watch the old I Love Lucy's and you hear stories about, oh, Lucy's helping Wayne Newton. Isn't that nice? She's giving him a big career boost, you know. But these days, it's like, until you have gotten into some large formatted, nationally recognized thing like a Saturday Night Live, albeit not what it used to be, you know, you don't really get the movie deal. You don't get the other great talents saying to you, hey, you know, I'd like to work with you. It's one of those things where, at least in my instance, I can't speak for the others. I haven't had the giant person that I always looked up to. Rick Dees basically wanted to hire me once.
Cool.
And yeah, I went out there and flew thousands of miles for a turkey sandwich to hear him say, well, would love to have you, buddy, but I'm the one that makes the money.
Did you tell him you like Disco Duck?
That was kind of like, you know, that's like being kneecapped by somebody you admire. So that was that was interesting. But, you know, not to say that these things don't happen. They're out there. But, I mean, in this environment, you don't really have gigantic legends of broadcasting in this city. You know, it's pretty much New York, L.A., am I right?
Yeah.
Is that a fair assessment?
Mm-hmm, pretty much. When I was growing up, I learned to be a credit watcher for cartoons. And it was the same names over and over again. Not to say that there might be a parallel that you keep hearing the same voices over and over again, even in anime. But, I mean, it being one of the hardest professions to break into, the people who do it well, and they do it extremely well. And that's why you hear Jack Angel all over the place, and that's why you hear Danny Dark all over the place, and Michael Bell. Good Lord, Michael Bell's in everything. And between that and Dawes Butler, Don Messick, early Mel Blanc, yeah, I didn't really have anyone near me to look up to, but when I started to recognize names and then could recognize voices before they rolled the credits, I started to feel pretty proud of myself. So, inspiration more than mentor.
Yours was so much better than mine.
Oh,
I'm a fanboy.
mine was just George.
Oh, okay. I'll let you do that.
Yeah, we'll be back at 2 to sign autographs. That's what we'll be.
I brought stuff to sign, but no one cares, so. Pity on the poor dub actor. But
Sign my tape, please.
yeah, cool. No, if you guys want to grab me during the rest of the con and ask questions and stuff, I got pictures to sign, so
That goes
that's cool if
for
you
me
want to do that. We love you all. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys rule. We'd be living in trailer parks and eating chauffeurs if it weren't for well, come to think of it, I am.
So, thanks for coming. We love Dothan. That's our favorite town.
Oh, you were Zorak. Oh my god. It's one of those guys sounded like
Why
Zorak.
is it freezing in here?
I love that
It's like
guy.
the Ed Sullivan theme.
What we've got going on next is we're going to do a dump your own anime thing. Now, since Scott Hull couldn't be here, we don't have all the equipment and everything, but we're going to work something out, and Amy has graciously volunteered to help out. And if Mike wants to help out, he can help out too. We have someone to interact with. And we've got the first 10 with the